Strategy is a Bitcoin refinery. Almost everyone has heard that analogy. Almost no one truly understands what that actually means and the implications. So in this video, I am going to unpack everything that you need to know, and hopefully by the end you'll grasp why strategy is often described as a Bitcoin refinery, as well as the magnitude of what's actually unfolding. So first of all, what is a refinery? A refinery, at a basic level, is something that takes raw inputs and converts them into useful outputs. And in doing so, it unlocks the utility of a resource and increases its value. Now, one of the best examples of this model, of this process, is Standard Oil. Standard Oil was an American company, an American oil company founded in 1870 by John Rockefeller, and went on to become the most valuable company in the world. Now, what did Standard Oil do? Well, it extracted crude oil and refined it into more useful products like jet fuel, gasoline, petroleum, heating oil, and diesel. Why was that so important? Well, without being refined, crude oil remained largely unusable in its natural state. And so by refining it, Standard Oil essentially unlocked the potential of crude oil and maximized its usefulness, making it much more practical and versatile for consumers and industries to use. So how does that all relate to strategy? Well, different investors want different levels of exposure to Bitcoin. Now remember, strategy itself is a leveraged play on Bitcoin. So what does strategy do? It securitizes Bitcoin by converting it into a range of different financial products that appeal to different investors based on their volatility, risk, and return goals. So for example, investors that want income will buy a product like Strife. Investors that want downside protection will buy a convertible bond. Investors that are comfortable with the volatility of the MSTR stock will buy the equity. Investors that want even more leverage than what MSTR offers will buy one of the leveraged ETFs like MSTU. And investors that want to maximize their returns will trade options. The beauty is that each product benefits strategy in some way. Now, why does all that matter? It matters because by securitizing Bitcoin, strategy makes it more accessible to investors, and in doing so, it attracts capital that otherwise wouldn't flow into the asset. So what are all of the implications of this for strategy? Well, the answer is the implications are huge, and I'm going to use, again, Standard Oil as a comparison to emphasize why. So firstly, Standard Oil maximized the use of crude oil by converting it into products that were tailored to the needs of consumers. In the same way, strategy is maximizing the usefulness of Bitcoin by converting it into products that are tailored to the needs of investors. Secondly, crude oil fueled and reinforced the success of Standard Oil. What do I mean by that? Well, the more useful Standard Oil made crude oil, the more crude oil became an indispensable part of the energy economy, the more demand there was for crude oil, which created a flywheel effect. In the same way, Bitcoin is fueling and reinforcing the success of strategy. The more useful strategy makes Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin becomes an indispensable part of the financial economy, and the more demand there will be for Bitcoin, which again creates an incredibly powerful flywheel. Now, third and finally, and this is what it all comes down to, by having the vision to recognize the value of crude oil before everyone else, John Rockefeller was able to transform Standard Oil into the most valuable company in the world. In the same way, by having the vision to recognize the value of Bitcoin before everyone else, Michael Saylor is on course to transform strategy into the most valuable company in the world. Okay, so that might have been a lot to take in. So let me summarize everything very simply for you. Strategy creates financial products that attract different types of investors that are seeking Bitcoin exposure. Investors deploy capital into those products. Strategy then takes that capital and converts it into Bitcoin, which embeds Bitcoin deeper into the financial system, creates more demand for Bitcoin, and the cycle repeats. So essentially, when you invest in strategy, you're not just investing in Bitcoin, you are investing in the infrastructure that delivers it to the world. Hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully after watching this, you have a better understanding of why strategy is often described as a Bitcoin refinery, and recognize the scale of its impact, not only on accelerating Bitcoin adoption, but accelerating the transition to a Bitcoin standard. On that note, I am going to wrap this video up. If you want to get hold of any of the graphics that I've used in this video, you can find them on my X account at Chris M. Millas by scrolling to the highlights tab. And until next time, remember, the best is yet to come.